Hey guys, welcome to It's a Party. I'm Nate. Welcome to the very first installment of our new series called Just the Tip.
Perhaps play a little game called Just the Tip. Just for a second.
We're going to be focusing on questions from all of you in our community, just focusing on a quick tip, a quick trick, and just answering some basic questions that you guys have. So we got a question from Rachel Boris, and she asked,
I'm a beginner griller. A grilling for dummies videos could be cool. Or some videos featuring awesome marinades with supplies most people would have to look forward to.
okay, hey, let's get into it. The top 3 or 4, 5. Let's do 5, maybe 6. Tips for grilling. The first thing I want to talk about is temp control. Now, cooking with direct and indirect heat is the most basic thing that you need to learn to get a perfect steak or chicken or whatever you're grilling. You need to start using your heat zones. You want to have one side of your grill super hot and the other side of your grill not hot, so that you can control searing and fast cooking with slow, longer cooking. This is gonna give you a juicier steak in the end, it's gonna give you juicier chicken, you're gonna get a better sear, and you're not gonna risk overcooking things because you have a much bigger window of cookery. Which leads into searing. Tip number 2, getting a good sear. Having direct and indirect heat zones on your grills, what's gonna help you achieve a really great sear without having to overcook your meat by only having that one heat zone. In protein, a sear is the Maillard reaction. It's where the proteins start to caramelize and you get those gorgeous grill marks, or you get that really great caramelization on chicken and fish. Getting a really good sear on your meat before moving it to the indirect heat side is absolutely key in getting really juicy and delicious food. Everyone says you have to bring your steak to room temperature before grilling. But Pitmaster X, if you guys don't follow Pitmaster X, he's awesome. His videos are really great. He just did an experiment cooking a frozen steak next to a refrigerated steak next to a room temperature steak. And he kind of dispels some of that myth, and I changed my mind. I actually did it the other day, and it was awesome. I pulled my steak out of the freezer. I let it thaw just a little bit, so the outside was thawed, but the inside was still solid. And I grilled it right next to a steak that was at room temperature. And I agree with Pitmaster X. The frozen steak was actually awesome. And if you really think about it, like, it's cold in the middle, you want even cooking. I don't really want even cooking on my steak. I mean, really think about it. You want a sear on the outside, but a nice medium rare on the inside. So if the inside's frozen, it sounds like blasphemy.
Blasphemy!
But give it a try. Just don't knock it till you try it. I love adding smoke. It's a whole nother flavor characteristic that I think adds a lot of flavor to your flavorful steaks. Flavor! If you have a charcoal grill, this is pretty simple. You just add the chips or the chunks right over your coals and close the lid. Boom, bam, you've got smoke. If you've got a gas grill, it's a little bit more difficult, but they sell these really cool things that you can put chips in and have them smoke. They're pretty cool. But adding smoke really does add a cool new flavor dynamic to your food. Speaking of flavor dynamics, so Rachel, in your message you mentioned marinades. So I'm not really a huge marinade fan. I think any true meat aficionado loves the flavor of beef. Or chicken, or fish, whatever they're cooking. And I think marinades sometimes get in the way of that. I'm not saying don't do them. Have fun with them, play with them. But I much prefer sauces. Adding a really fun sauce, like a chimichurri or like a homemade steak sauce, I feel like that adds a new layer of flavor that you have complete control over. Sometimes marinades that you purchase have too much sugar or too much salt, and it starts to play with the flavors of your food. So I would suggest moving more towards sauces instead of marinades. All right, how many tips was that? Was that 4, 5? Can we add another one? Let's add one more. When seasoning your steaks, make sure that you season them properly. A thin steak's not gonna need as much seasoning as a larger steak, but if you're buying a thick cut steak, which I recommend, if you're cooking for 2, I would recommend getting a big 1.5, 2 pound steak and then slicing it later, because it gives you so much more room to impart a lot of flavor into a bigger cut of meat. And also, you're not overcooking it, or at least you don't run the risk of overcooking it because it's a much bigger cut. So be sure to season liberally, salt and pepper. This is my opinion. Leave me a comment because I'm sure a bunch of you will. Don't use pepper, it'll burn. I've been cooking steaks for a long time and I've never noticed pepper burnt flavor. Maybe that's just me. You know what? All you naysayers out there, I'm gonna make a video coming up soon and we're gonna test one steak with just salt and one steak with salt and pepper. And I might change my mind. I mean, Pitmaster X helped me change my mind on the whole frozen thing, so it's possible. Maybe that's another tip. I don't even know what tip we're on. Don't be afraid to get out of your comfort zone. If you've been doing things the same way for a long time, quit doing that. Try something new, try something different. and I'll take my own advice on that one, and I'll give marinades a try, Miss Rachel Boris. So thank you so much for your question. That has been an episode of Just the Tip. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and let us know what else you want to learn about. I'm Nate. See you in the next video.